Welcome back to the Company Show. We tell it because we don't care how you feel. And we got the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. The Dogs versus the Nerds this weekend, or at least should I say this Friday. This is a Friday 3:30 kickoff game. I've said it once, said it twice. I'll say it a million more times in my lifetime. I absolutely hate Friday college football games. Hate it. College football is made to be played on Saturdays. Saturdays are made for college football. Why is this game on a Friday night? It's not even on a Friday night. It's 3:30 kickoff. But it is what it is. I think we got to face some music as Georgia Bulldog fans, even if you're a Yellow Jacket fan out there. This game is probably going to be played on Fridays moving forward, so it is what it is. Let's jump straight into it. Georgia going on the road to face the Jackets, but not exactly. This is supposed to be a home game for the Yellow Jackets, but they sold their home rights for this game. So this game is going to be played still in Atlanta, but at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And we all know that is home away from home for the Bulldogs. So this crowd for this game is probably going to be 70% Dogs, 30% Jackets. If you are lucky, Georgia Tech fans, probably 70-30. Best shot. I would not be surprised if this field was 80-20. 80% Dog fans, or 20% Georgia Tech fans. So this is basically going to be a home game for the Georgia Bulldogs, talking about crowd-wise. So I think it's dumb. Very dumb. I hope Georgia Tech, you like the pretty penny you get from selling your home game for this, because I think it's stupid. But either way, Georgia is a 13.5-point favorite on the road against the Jackets. I've said it all season long. Georgia Tech is highly overrated. Highly overrated. Don't get me wrong. I think Haynes King is a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I like what Brent Key has brought to this program. The way that he has revived this rivalry. Growing up, I'm 29 years old, almost 30. I grew up in an era, from the youngest I can really remember, where Georgia dominated this rivalry. It's always been the Dogs. I mean, you got to think for this century, Georgia Tech has won 3 times in 25 years. So hasn't been particularly close in this rivalry. So for me, as a younger fan who's 30 years old, I don't view this as such a historic rivalry the way I view like the Georgia-Florida. Hell, even the Georgia-Auburn game. So I really appreciate, really respect what Brent Key has brought to this program, the way he has been able to revive this rivalry, because this is the first time that I've been able to sit here and be like, damn, I cannot wait for this game. And I absolutely hate Tech. Hate Tech. But said it all season long, Georgia Tech is overrated. Georgia is going to cover the spread. They are sitting at a 13.5-point favorite. I'm not a gambling man, but I'm taking Georgia plus 14. Georgia wins this game by 14-plus points. Georgia Tech fans should be upset because last year was their year. They played their best game that they have ever played against Georgia, and I can't tell you how long. And Georgia probably played one of their worst games they played against Georgia Tech, and Georgia still won. They still won. 8 overtime. Georgia Tech did everything they could do to win the game, and the Bulldogs still found a way to win. And the problem for Georgia Tech, the very bad problem, is that Georgia is playing their best football right now. They are clicking on all cylinders when it matters. Their offense under Gunnar Stockton is absolutely elite. Gunnar Stockton is playing on another level. He looks comfortable, confident. The O-line has given him tremendous amount of time to pass the ball. The rushing attack for this Georgia offense is on another level. Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens. Bowens coming off an injury. I'm pretty sure he'll play this game. The Georgia offense, I have no worries that they'll put up whatever points they need to put up. But the big factor for this game, especially for the Georgia Bulldogs, is that this defense is playing lights out. The biggest issue for this dog team this year, the Georgia Bulldogs this season, is that they started slow, specifically on defense, and it took them about 2.5 quarters to finally realizing, hey, we're playing a game of football, and they step it up. These last 3 weeks, they have been lights out. Lights out. They shut out Charlotte. Not shut out. They allowed 3 points, but they kept them from scoring a touchdown. So did what they needed to do in that game. They only allowed 10 points against Arch Manning, and the Texas Longhorns absolutely demolished the Longhorns. And obviously the Mississippi State game. So this defense is playing their best ball when it matters. This Georgia team is clicking on all cylinders at the right time. Flip it to the other side of the ball. Georgia Tech probably playing their worst ball at the worst time possible. After an embarrassing loss at home against Pittsburgh. You're talking about this is the last game you have at home in Atlanta. Not in Mercedes-Benz, in Atlanta at Bobby Dowd Stadium. And you put that kind of performance at home, a 42-28 loss at home. You were down 28-0 at one point. Now, give Georgia Tech credit. They were down 28-0 at one point, and they stayed in the game. Most teams would roll over and die. Not Georgia Tech. They hung in there. They fought hard to the very last second. So you got to give credit to this Georgia Tech team. They are a feisty group, and they will fight you until the very last second. But at the end of the day, I think this Georgia team is too much. I think they are playing their best ball when it matters. I think they are better in every single aspect. Offense on every single line, the O-line, the running back, the receivers, defense. The secondary is stepping up when it matters. The front seven is finally getting after the quarterback, finally getting pressure on the quarterback. I think this is going to be a long night for Georgia Tech. Now, I think Georgia Tech is going to be able to put up points in this game, but I think come the third, fourth quarter, it's not going to be close. I'm just going to say, it's just dumb. It's absolutely stupid that Georgia Tech is not playing this game at their own stadium in Atlanta, and it's at Mercedes-Benz. If you're a Georgia Tech fan, let me know how you feel about that in the comments, because if I was a Georgia Tech fan, I would be so pissed off that this game is not at Georgia Tech. After the ass whooping that Georgia Tech took this past weekend against Pittsburgh, I don't know what they have left in the tank, because if Haynes King is not playing superhero football, if he does not put the cape on and he is not going out there looking like the next coming of Jesus Christ, they're losing this game. If Georgia Tech does not put up 45-plus points, they're losing this game. And the way that this Georgia defense is playing, I'd be scared if Georgia Tech doesn't even put up 23 points. Georgia Tech's chance to win this game, win in this rivalry, was last year in the 8 overtime. And they couldn't get it done. So I think this is going to be a phenomenal game. Like I said, I've kind of gone off on a little tangent, kind of trash talked here. But I am very glad what Brent Key has been able to bring back to this Georgia Tech program and bring back to this rivalry to make this an actual clean, old-fashioned hate. Absolutely love that. Because this is the first time in many years that I've been like, damn, this is going to be a great game. But even with saying that, I think this Georgia team is just too much for this Tech team. I think Georgia gets it done. I think they go into Mercedes-Benz. They score early. They score often. Defense is lights out. I'm taking Georgia to beat the Jackets, to beat the Nerds. by 14 plus points. They cover. I'm looking at a 43-17 type of game. 43-17. That's what I'm predicting. Georgia Bulldogs put belt to ass against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, the Nerds up there in Atlanta. Go Dogs.